Okay.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
Hey.
Veryrandombutterfly here, and I'm doing another podcast. This time with some of the members from Swordfall. Tales of Swordfall.
Hello there. This is Guy. And I play Norik, Vaultspur. The little, whatchamacallit? What is
Halfling?
he? He's a halfling monk. I've only been doing this for like 3/4 of a year, and obviously my improv needs work. Not my improv, just being able to speak in general.
And I'm Lucy. I play Taz Mockwell.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys too.
Yeah.
We have
I think this is my first time actually in a chat with you, Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for the main Swordfall one on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, voice chat. But yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually spoken.
We need to have. That's one reason why I kind of wanted this podcast, just an excuse for both groups to kind of chat and whatnot. Although I do realize it was a bit last minute. I need to plan better on these. I promise I will work on this.
Oh, it's fine. Boy, I've got that. I'm talking to the player of Taz Mockwell. It's like you're famous.
Oh, so fancy.
I am really excited to get to talk to you guys because you're the ones who started this. You, the OG.
That feels really weird too.
Yeah.
I was talking with Paul when we had Luke had to leave. Fortunately we were able to do a nice little parting episode until whatever further date he hopefully can be back to playing. He's so much fun to play with, but
he gets so good into character.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But when Paul said, "Yeah, we're gonna be bringing some new people in," and I said, "I mean, I know a couple people who would want to play," and Paul's like, "There's a list." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there's a pretty good list of people that are like, you do a thing with Swordfall on it.
Yeah, Sam was like, I want to be a part of it. I'm like, I don't know if I can.
Yep. Actually, the people who was, you know them, Christy, is Dev and Rose.
Oh, Dev Bear.
Yeah, Dev Bear. Yeah, I was talking with them about it when we actually met at VidCon, and that was so much fun. But
I actually originally almost didn't make it on the podcast.
Really?
I was a little last minute. There was already someone in the slot that I have now, but they had to drop out.
Oh.
So I got it.
Ooh. Well, glad you're in.
Me too.
No, it wouldn't be the same. The blue group wouldn't be.
I know. Whose apartment would everybody swarm to?
They would just be homeless. They live in the sewers, man.
Yep. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's something nasty in the sewers. Actually, I'm caught up as much has been uploaded, but
There's some kind of zombie spirit who really hates us for grave robbing.
Oh yeah.
Not that we don't live in the sewers.
That is where I last heard.
Yeah.
That I think it's the latest one that's been uploaded, as far as I know, is where you guys first run into him again on the rooftop or whatever. And yeah, freaky.
I'm not looking forward to that encounter.
This campaign is a good example of what can go wrong. Generally does.
Always.
In the most glorious fashion, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, when things go wrong, it's so much fun.
And especially recently when we I try to calm you down with that potion. Of all the darn potions that come up, giant strength. Freaking giant strength.
I mean, sure, like, Rayanne can be a bit, you know, yeah, okay, she steals stuff, you know, not too crazy. People steal stuff, but she's also kind of spastic in a way.
Yes.
And that is one of those really spastic moments. Like, maybe this will work. We'll just use a random potion. This can't do anything bad, right?
It doesn't help that she's pretty young and dumb.
Yep. It's hilarious, though.
Yes.
I still picture in my mind enraged Norik riding similarly enraged Herberta the mule standing on her back, one hand on the reins, the other hand with his spear, just screaming, ah! And just like launching himself at Gavin.
Poor Gavin.
Poor Gavin.
He deserves so much better.
Yeah.
But,
he loved stuff like that, though. He's like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
There's definitely moments, I feel, that when it's good to, moments when it's good to optimize a bit and be like, this is what I could do best in a situation. And then there's definitely moments when it's definitely more fun to say, this is a poor choice, but I think it's what my character would do.
Yeah. I think I've got an idea for Rayanne for the next time we meet, too.
Oh boy.
Be a little out of character for her.
Hey, you know, a little out of character can pretty easily just become, this is a new kind of side to her character. Depending on how you play, you know?
Yeah. I don't want to go into spoilers. Y'all just probably have to see it, and also everyone listen.
My grandpa played with us. It was a quiet game. He did.
I'm having too much fun with just playing around with clouds here.
Yeah, I see that.
Clouds
I'm just watching, like, I want to see how you make clouds.
Right now, I'm just filling it out. I'm using the same pen just because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
But,
laziness is okay.
Yeah.
You know? At a certain point, you gotta get a little bit unlazy, but...
Yeah. I do like these cloud brushes, though. It's really nice. The only downside about Clip Studio is usually most of the brushes are in Japanese, so you can't look for brushes. And the thing is, I've been looking forever for like a fan brush. Those come in handy for like painting grass, painting waterfalls.
Yeah. Yeah, things I've done have been in, actually almost everything I've done has been in vector programs and vector art type of stuff, and I've done a little bit of regular bitmap painting type of stuff, and I see the things other people do. I'm like, holy cow! I've got to wait this before I can do that. But and even when I'm doing bitmap stuff, it's usually just in a bitmap layer in Toon Boom, and I feel like it does bitmap stuff, but I feel like it doesn't do it as well as a lot of other programs. A real painting program would definitely be more appropriate for if you're going to paint something.
Yeah. And this program is more suited for like manga and whatnot, but it works really well in the paintbrush, like the blending. It actually blends in, especially with like some of the custom watercolor brushes that I have.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I don't know. Maybe some more swoopy clouds? I don't know. I think I'm going a little overboard though. Maybe it's a little too far past the horizon. I will make these clouds fit.
Just grab a section of sky and just start resizing and stretching and squashing.
Yes. I will make this my own. Gosh darn it. Okay. As a backup. Also, I get to do stuff like this. Maybe blue. Yeah.
Was this like a repaint type of brush?
I'm trying to work on the shadows a little.
So is this only painting the areas that have already been?
I duplicated the layer and then I locked it.
Ah.
So, although,
Nice.
This is bothering me. Okay, plan B.
Just like, nope, that didn't work. Undo.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about the high contrast here, because I'm just gonna kind of fade it a little.
Yeah.
Well, I might change the color of these clouds now that I'm thinking about it. Oh my gosh, I'm spending way too much time on clouds. I'm sorry. I just went nuts.
You have to paint the happy little clouds.
Yeah. Let me see if I try this. Oh.
That picture that you did of our group, that was cool.
It was really fun. I need references of the blue group. I kind of want to do like a little sketch of that too, because that'd be fun. Huh. I do like the brighter look of this. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I like that. I think it's looking nice.
Yeah.
They're looking like cloudy clouds.
Cloudy clouds. I think going to do like a very.
Let's see. Yeah, the blue group is definitely pretty diverse
Mm-hmm.
in terms of character types and looks. I don't know. I just have kind of my mental image. I'm not sure actually what any of them theoretically in their little icons they probably made for the game. I have no idea what any of them actually look like, but I feel like the descriptions have been pretty good. I mean, obviously, Krakatoa's big.
I like how sheepish he can act sometimes, though.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez. Names to faces. I'm so bad at it. Even when it's fake characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got Stu. Obviously, there's Taz.
Yes. Oh, I'm terrible at that, and I'm also terrible at names.
It was such like a sweetie, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this really kind little kobold. Always has something to well, you know, how are you feeling today? You know, type of personality to him. Would you like to talk about that? That part where he was in the bathhouse.
Oh yeah.
Where he went back to the back. He went back to the bathhouse and he ended up like giving counseling sessions to the workers.
I love him so much.
That was just like so precious.
Yeah. Ended up like personally counseling this one who really could have used it, and you know, he got a place to stay the night, and
He's too good for us.
Just an angel.
And then there's Uncle Krakatoa.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Uncle Cricketer!
Stain came out of my shirt.
I have some thoughts and emotions about that episode.
That was so. I listened to these things. I catch up on the Blue Group while I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have my
Oh, I bet that did not end well.
I have some earmuff headphones, so you know, it's just me. And yeah, I kind of have my own little work area. Other people come and ask me for things on occasion, and I'll just kind of pause for a moment and talk to people, and then go back to my own world of not talking to people. It's great.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I love things where I can do where I don't have to talk to people. D&D is an exception. This is fun. For work, I mean. But anyway, so yeah, I'm sitting there listening, and I'm like, obviously the previous episode had kind of set up the whole Krakatoa and Dragon Lady thing. So I kind of had an idea of what was coming.
I mean, that was some top-notch D&D. Some quality playing.
I'm like,
Oh man,
my
I was
gosh.
like, that had me like laughing under my breath because I'm just holding it in, and I was like blushing, and I was like, oh jeez, nobody look at me right now. Please, nobody walk over and start talking to me.
I had to mute myself and like stand back. I was dying.
It's like, is this really happening right now? And he kept making the Constitution face. Just that killed me right there. That was done. I was dead.
Boy, I need to sketch this out because, oh my gosh. Yeah, might need to play around with this, but just getting like a base idea.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know exactly what the topic of today's painting is, but
I was trying to
should I
do,
just
like,
wait and see?
Kingdom of Swordfall, but with like the sword in the
Yeah.
middle, maybe way back
Oh,
in the
sword
center.
floating over the city. Oh, so
Yeah.
that's like the hilt to the sword there.
Yeah.
Because I still am occasionally surprised at how large this sword floating over the city is. It's like, okay, we're quite a ways away, and the sword is still big over the city. Like, you can't see the city really very much anymore. But there's the sword!
It's huge. And when he first described it to me, like I knew it was big, but the scale didn't register.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is probably not doing it justice, so I might have to redo it.
Like, this thing has got to be... It's got to be like a...
Like, mountain size?
Yeah, at least.
Okay. So. I just feel like I need to sketch this out for some reason.
Interesting how that is... It's a thing everybody's just used to.
It's like
But-
something we take for granted about
Yeah.
how huge it really is.
But, you know, like, the everybody who lives in Swordfall, the Kingdom of Swordfall, they're just used to... There's the giant sword, just, it's there. You know, no big deal.
No
I'm
one-
gonna go water my plants. And from an outside perspective, you're like, what the heck is this? Something is bad here.
It
Something...
makes my skin crawl. It's a literal sword of Damocles, and I don't like it.
Ooh, what is sort of what?
Sword of
Sword of-
Damocles?
I'm not familiar with that.
The one who
It's-
does.
It's like here, I'll I don't know how to find it. I'll Google.
Okay. So,
Definitely, Christine and I do not have as much D&D background as a lot of people.
Okay, Sword of
But that doesn't
Damocles.
stop us.
Sword of Damocles
Yes.
isn't a D&D thing. It's Greek mythology.
Ooh.
It's an allusion to the imminent and ever-present peril faced by those in positions of power. It's like a literal, like, floating sword.
Hmm.
Or it's often depicted as a floating sword. Or...
Interesting. Very interesting.
so like, yay big? I can always adjust.
Yeah. Just grab that sucker and scale it.
Exactly.
um,
And I could always do like a fading technique where it looks like something like a mountain sort of kind of deal.
yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, if this thing is reaching high up into the sky, it's gonna look more and more faded as you look up.
Yeah. Control T. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Maybe a little bit bigger sticking out. Alright.
It's almost like you have to give it even more sky space.
Just like the clouds, I will make space.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the scale of the sword depends on how big the city is beneath it.
Yeah. Which
And then you draw a speck, and you're like, then that's the city.
I know, it's like this.
Scale.
And honestly, like, Kingdom of Swordfall and Swordfall, just Swordfall
That
in
sucker's
general,
gonna come down on us.
right?
I
not
had
Sky
some
Sword.
major Majora's Mask ideas with this, and oh my gosh, my clouds are clipping. Ah! Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to downscale those. just a little.
This is art. You have full freedom to do whatever you want. It's great.
Yes, especially in an art program like this. Not so much traditional, and that looks very compressed.
Transform is my best friend.
It's also Optimus Prime's best friend. Transform. Autobots, roll out. Sorry, I had to.
It's okay.
So there's this thing that it keeps coming into my mind, and I did a little podcasty thing where I interviewed some animators. I had Vinny Veritas, Alejandro's his actual name, but he's Vinny Veritas online, and he created this webcomic and some Flash animations, a good handful of Flash animations go with it. CCC, the City of Opportunities, and it's pretty cool. But so I had him, I had Rebecca-chan, and I had Patrick Smith, all animators from different backgrounds, pretty vastly different backgrounds. I intentionally had it like that. But I was talking to Pat Smith, and he said something about animating that I feel like it translates across to art in general. And he's like, I've had lots of people walk up and say, "Hey, look at my walk cycle," and oh, that's nice. That's a good walk cycle. Everybody kind of makes walk cycles. That's an important thing to be able to do, but he's like, it's kind of boring, and he says it's much more interesting to animate a person crawling out of another person's mouth, because what is that supposed to look like? There's no rule for what that's supposed to look like, so you just get to make it up.
Well,
and he had a whole animation where, like, I forget what it was named, but this whole animation that you'd be able to look up of his, where someone, it's like some sort of drink of something on a table or flask. I forget exactly what it was. It's been a while. But person walks over to it and drinks it, and then all of a sudden, this other person just springs up out of their mouth, and then someone else comes out of their mouth, and someone else comes out of their mouth, and it's this whole, like, minute and a half or so of all these different people, different ages and whatever, and all different walks of life, just springing out of each person's mouth continually, one, and then the next one out of that one, and the next one. It's like the weirdest thing, but it's like, I get it. Like, you just make up how to do this, and you just do it.
Want to create the most unorthodox thing.
Yeah, you can do something. When you create something that is totally unorthodox, you get to make up your own rules. But yeah, I guess that's where a lot of art has pretty much the same idea. I mean, obviously there's certain rules to go by for depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Various composition type of rules, but they're not even really rules. They're like guidelines.
Yeah. Like,
I like to think of things as jazz. Jazz music. There's guidelines for what to do, but you could go off and kind of. You could play the quote unquote wrong note if you know what you're doing and make it work.
Same with painting. You can paint
Yeah.
with the wrong colors, but as long as you know where the land lies and you know what you're doing.
So much.
I mean, that's the thing that about art, you have to know the rules before you can break them. But once you do know the rules, you can break them as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's for sure. I had when I first started playing, I took a jazz improv class at my college. It was definitely one of those baptism by fire situations. Like, okay, I'm totally new to this. Haven't really played anything like this. I played violin long before that, but heck, I hardly knew how to play violin anymore. So it was, they're like, you should know your scales before you come here, your major scales before you come here. I'm like, I don't, but I'm gonna go anyway. And I learned them quick. But that class was, we definitely learned the rules of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then for that class, the teacher kept it within the rules. But as long as you were within those rules, you kind of had freedom to do things. If you were improving,
Yeah.
Everybody had an opportunity to lucky. I actually took class 3 times. I took that class 3 times because it was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And as a bass guitar player, you have the option to improv. Everybody else was required, so I was like, sweet, first time through. Like, okay, I'm just gonna make my way through this class. I'll pass on improving. Second time through, I was like, I'll try it a little bit. Third time through, I went wacky.
Is this okay? This is not what I'm looking for. I'm going through brushes just trying to see what I need. I know what I need, but it would help if I picked the right color too. Okay. So what I'm just basically doing this
grass.
For texture, really. I'm gonna color over it.
Mm-hmm.
And, probably wouldn't hurt. I should have done this on a separate layer.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Had a blonde moment there.
Yeah, that was tragedy avoided.
Yeah. And
okay, so here's a. Oh, yeah. So here's the thing that I have a little bit of trouble with when it comes to art stuff. I tend to be very thorough and a little bit OCD.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, if I were drawing grass right now, the way you are, I would be like, it's not even. There's spots where it's like lighter and there's spots where it's too heavy. I have to even this out. But then you zoom out and you look at it and you're like, this looks really boring.
See, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, color it with the, watercolor brush.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to, also do separate strands around the road area.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so you've got a nice sort of natural, it's sort of patchy grass. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually something that I struggle with. It's funny. It's like I can't make things imperfect. I can, but it's tough.
Yeah. Which I don't like using a brush for just like all of this, but at the same time it makes it easier to do this.
Uh-huh.
Which, that moment when I realize it's both a good... Oh, nope, I done goofed. I'll fix that. So what I'm trying to do is darken this too with like a purple, but then fade it. Since it's so close.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some of the rules of art is light and shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one, and
Yeah, I like
takes practice.
Sometimes use contrasting colors to kind of darken things.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe use light oranges and yellows and stuff. Especially with nature, yellows to kind of brighten up some patches.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Think about stuff too logically sometimes. I'm like, you used purple and you used yellow, and they're literally opposite colors. They are, I believe, complementary. I believe, where they're on the opposite end of the color wheel. Purple and yellow.
All contrasting.
Contrasting it, yeah. So anyway, they are exact opposite ends of the color wheel, and it's like you used both of them on grass, and the technical mind that I have is like, how does that even work?
It does.
But it does.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm
Or
going
some-
and then just little patches. And then on for the the only downside of doing this digitally is it's so easy to
It's okay. Sing like you make. What you do to let's get down to.
it's so easy to worry about oversaturation of the colors.
Are we getting some Pat Benatar here?
I know.
Don't mind the music. My friend is playing it.
Nice. Hey, Pat Benatar, that's solid there.
Yeah. Trying to.
My parents got to see her in concert.
I think I got to see her like in the rodeo.
Oh, nice.
I think it was her last year there too. So, years since I've gone there. But it's a real big thing where I am.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if there were a rodeo around here, it probably would get some decent attendance, but not like crazy fanatical attendance. Probably more so people of, ooh, a rodeo! I've never seen one of those. I wonder what it's like.
Yeah, which is just pretty much a fair, except people get duded up. It's
yeah,
exactly that.
You know, there's Renaissance fairs, there's the Civil War reenactments, there's duded up Texas fairs, aka rodeos.
Yes. But, oh, It's kind of funny. People stereotypically think, oh yeah, y'all always wear the hats, but it's like, no one wears the hats unless if it's A, Go Texan Day, or B, the rodeo, which they usually coincide together. So, Go Texan Day is usually when all the livestock from they do like a trail and whatnot all the way to where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So certain areas of the highway are blocked off for livestock to make way.
Yeah, while they're moving a herd.
Yeah. I think I should probably just kind of...
It's interesting how you get different traffic scenarios like that where you are, depending on where you are in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in Texas, you've got some places where you can have the highway blocked for herds of cattle or whatever.
Yep, but it's usually only during the rodeo, to be honest.
Yeah. Around here, we occasionally have things like, and there's a slowdown on this road where there's a bunch of peacocks in the road. Not peacocks, turkeys. Bunch of turkeys in the road.
Turkeys.
Turkeys and peacocks are very different birds.
I just thought the wrong thing. There are peacocks around here.
There's peacocks pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, they make the weirdest sound. But yeah, wild turkeys are not uncommon around here. And I've definitely been driving down some of the back roads and been like, 55-mile-an-hour back road, and all of a sudden traffic comes to a dead stop. I'm like, what's going on here? And
they're like, turkeys.
Then it eventually starts moving again, and you're driving past, you see all these turkeys off to the side, you're like, They're pretty stupid. Turkeys they're not a smart bird. They're kind of funny, though. They actually roost in trees. They will fly up to trees and roost in trees overnight.
Now, I've never seen a turkey roost in trees, but then again... I've never really observed it.
Because they're so big, and you would think, like, how does such a big bird get into a tree?
Hmm.
And they can fly up there, but it takes effort. And it's pretty hilarious. I've witnessed it at my parents' house. They live up in the mountains a little bit. And over at the neighbor's house, there's a big oak tree that the turkeys like to roost in. Turkeys that live around them. And there could be like 30 of them, all just hanging out on the ground. It's starting to get towards the sunset, getting pretty late in the day, early evening, and the turkeys are like, all right, time to go get ready to head up to the trees and sleep. And they'll all gather around, and it's as if they're waiting for the first one to go.
They're like, okay, you go. No, you go.
Yeah,
no.
You go first. No, you go first. And there might even be an order to it. There might even be some sort of hierarchy, for all I know.
A hierarchy for turkeys, huh?
There actually is. Definitely when they're feeding, there is. So then one of them will start going, and it'll start running, and its wings go out, and whap, 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 whap. Wings beating the ground every time they flap. And then all of a sudden it just whap, whap, whoo, 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 whoo. And branches come falling down, twigs and things they hit as they're all these little twigs and down from the tree when they land. It's a very not graceful landing in the trees. And then the next one does it, and it's basically a repeat 30 times over.
Could you imagine living in a place near all that? Oh.
Yep.
Oh wait,
yep.
you said... Oh no. That would be kind of annoying. But...
You know, it's something. If you're inside, you probably wouldn't hear it, but if you're outside, you can kind of catch the sound of wings beating the ground, and then a moment of silence, and then crashing into a tree.
Sorry about this. I'm trying to do a little bit of scaling, sort of.
Huh?
Mild scaling.
Yeah, you're doing like some layering of hills.
Yeah. Doesn't really matter what color I do them right now, but I'm just sort of going along with it.
Yay, digital painting.
Hey! I know,
I'll
this was...
change that later.
Yeah, if this was traditional, I'd be like, ah! Just still need to practice more traditional. I have, my great-grandma's paint set. And,
Yeah, that's right. I remember you talking about that.
Oh. How she,
You know, if I do traditional anything...
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you first. Okay.
So if I do traditional anything, it's on paper. Like, I'm just gonna sketch things out.
Yeah.
Same. If I do color, it's usually digital or watercolors, but usually digital.
Mm.
No. How my great grandma kind of learned painting, it was like way back in the 70s. Her dad was dying, and to kind of help fiddle around with time, sometimes what she'd do is pick up oil painting. One of the first things she learned was how to paint, was attempt to paint water. She painted it, and the next day she looked at it and she's like, what the blank is this? She's like, and she told me first off the bat, water's the hardest thing you could paint. Which, yeah, it is true.
When it's done well, it's great. And I've definitely seen it done well.
I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't like this. What? Oop. I think I need a more solid brush. Well, you do. Yes.
My mom does some painting, and she hasn't really done so recently, but she got really into watercolor for several years, and I tell you, we didn't have any problem when I was living with them. We didn't have any problem filling the walls of our house.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, at the same time, was doing photography.
Mm-hmm.
The two of them, we literally had it covered. The walls of the house, I mean. And it's funny, I'll walk into some friends' houses who, you know, people that we know as a family, and occasionally look up on the wall and say, "Oh, hey, that's one of my mom's."
Yeah.
That's one of my dad's photos.
Yeah, one of my goals is to find some of my great-grandma's paintings. She painted in the area, so, well, not in this specific area, but... So, I'm bound to find one of hers in a thrift shop one day.
Yeah. Boy, I don't go to thrift shops enough.
I go almost weekly. But, I don't know. Might be a bit much.
Something I'm always on the lookout for, either at garage sales or thrift shops or whenever I get around to doing those, is a decent cassette player. Like there's tons out there that are like, okay, this is pretty cheap, you know, it'll do the job, but it's not like a nice quality cassette player. I want to find myself a nice quality cassette player because I have tons of cassettes.
Be nice to get like a cassette player to computer converter.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I want to look for is a Laserdisc player. I saw
Ooh, yeah.
a Laserdisc at Goodwill this week, and I'm like, you know, that'd be so cool to get. But Dad was like, every time we see the Laserdiscs, but never the players. And that's true. We're just like, you can find the most obscure things here, but the Laserdisc players are usually the hardest to find. And
yeah,
if you did, it'd probably be broken in some way or another.
Yeah, there's one friend of mine that he was given a Laserdisc player. It was a coworker of ours said, "Hey, I'm getting rid of my Laserdisc player. Any of you want it?" And my buddy's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take it." So he got that and a box of Laserdiscs to go with. And then I was at not long after he got it, I was at a garage sale. And they had some albums and vinyl. And I'm flicking through a couple, just, poking. And then I see, like, Demolition Man and Jurassic Park. Ooh. And others. I'm like, what is this soundtrack? I look at it again. I'm like, these are Laserdiscs. And there was about 25 or so Laserdiscs in this box. I'm like, hey, how much for the box of Laserdiscs? The person's like, oh, I don't know, $8.
You're like,
Deal.
Sold.
Deal. And I showed up to my friend's place. I'm like, hey, I got you a thing. He's like, oh, sweet. So there was, what else was there? Amadeus was in that, and
sorry, that was Bambi.
Fiddler on the Roof was in there. Wayne's World was in there.
I have still not seen that. I need to.
Wow. And you're from the generation that a lot of people in your age range have seen it. That's interesting.
Well, I was born in '93, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things like. Actually, I kind of hate that thing of when you mention a movie or something and someone's like, "Oh, I haven't seen it," and people go, "Oh my gosh, how could you have not seen it?"
I know.
Well, I mean, the answer's pretty simple. They just haven't. Oh, don't freak out over it.
No. Believe it or not, it took me till like college to finally see Rocky, like the first Rocky film.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am
pretty good.
Who takes like forever to watch classic movies and like that.
Controversial opinion? I actually don't like Rocky.
Oh yeah?
I'm just not a fan. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay.
I appreciate, the work that it took to get to there,
Mhm.
Because they were always fighting like an uphill battle on something on the movie. It seemed like.
I feel like one of the major themes of it was in the beginning of the movie. He's obviously pretty rough and tumble, and he's working as basically a leg breaker dude. Like, hey, you're not paying your loans to this loan shark. But then he kind of and he's super inconfident, not non, whatever.
Not a confident person.
Yeah, he's not confident in himself. Like when he goes to talk to Adrian, he's like, yeah, so you want to maybe like do something sometime or whatever. I don't know. And then end of the movie, he kind of finds his confidence. He's like, Adrian.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good theme within it at least. But interesting little tidbit that I thought was just super adorable about Stallone and that movie is in that movie he has pet turtles, and he still has those pet turtles.
Oh.
How many years ago? That was a long time ago. It was in the 70s, and it's 2018 now, and he still has the same pet turtles.
Yeah. My mom, when I was a kid, used to work in a country club, and she saw a lot of famous people like Stallone. She's like, he's surprisingly short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not that tall.
Mm-mm.
And some of the movies make Schwarzenegger out to be like pretty tall, like really tall. Almost like, man, what is he? 6'4", 6'6"? I think he's like 6'2" or something. A bit tall, but not. I could probably look this up.
I was going to delete this darker color, but I do like. I like this.
Yeah, he's 6'2", so it's like it's not unusually tall.
Yeah. I was
pastor at my church, though. Sorry.
The continue.
Pastor at my church, though, he's like 6'4" and a big guy, and it's like, hello up there. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, my mom, when she worked at the country club, she's like, everyone gets so stuck up with, it's a celebrity with someone. She's like, I see him, I'm like, big deal. I get that, though. I don't know. When you see famous people, I guess, or when you're exposed to them, I guess it's just like, just another person.
Yeah, there's, it's my sister-in-law's sister and her family, her husband, he's really into music, and music scene type of thing. He does a lot of things with audio equipment and working with bands on various stuff, and so he knows a lot of people. So when he says, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna be gone for lunch on this day. I'm meeting up with Carlos for lunch." When he says Carlos, he means Carlos Santana.
That's awesome. Just so casual. Oh, it's just Carlos.
Yeah. Yeah. I interned at a recording studio, and I definitely met a couple people there, and it was neat. But you just like, hey, I'm here, and let's make this a good experience.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my dad was talking about this week, and he's like, I want to see that Bohemian Rhapsody movie. I'm like, yes, please.
There's a movie.
It's about Queen.
Yeah.
And he was like, the actor who acts as Freddie Mercury looks pretty similar to him. I'm like, and I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, he kind of does.
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing about the movie, but I totally forgot about it. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's gonna come in like November.
Okay, that's why I haven't seen it.
Yes. You need like a time machine to be able to see it, guy.
Challenge accepted.
What do y'all think about
I
this forward?
guess if you're only traveling to life is the time machine in itself. It's a very slow one.
Yeah. Just works on its own time.
Yeah, you only go one speed and it's in one direction.
Yeah, you can't go back. Oh gosh, if that were the case.
Oh man.
The first thing I do, and it's kind of irresponsible, record the winning lotto numbers and just go to a gas station. Just say, oh yeah, I won a lottery ticket with these numbers.
So I've thought about things like, how would you go about traveling back in time to change something, but not creating a time paradox where you change something, but then because you changed it in the future or back in regular time, you wouldn't have gone back in time and changed it.
What?
Write a letter to yourself.
Yeah, so you gotta have something where it's like you change something that would then only take effect after you returned to wherever point in time you came from. So, so I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go back to 2009, 2010, create a Bitcoin wallet that only I know the password to in current time, have a bunch of Bitcoin in there, and then travel back and then be like, this is my wallet that I created back then. And, get millions of dollars.
Yeah. When in doubt, cash it out, too.
Yep. Or go back to 2000 and no, not 2000. Yeah, go back to the year 2000. Show up to the garage sale that my family had because I was 14 or something at the time. So do a little bit of disguisey type of things. So it's try and least chance of little me recognizing older me.
Just
and I would go
weird mustache.
Yeah. So I would go to our garage sale we had, and I'd be like, "Hey, how much for this giant box of Legos?" And little me would say, $60. And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll take them," and then I'd bring them back, and I'd have all my Legos again.
Well, that's a way of getting around it, huh?
Yeah, we ended up having this one lady walk up, and she asked, how much for the box of Legos? And I told her $60, and she's like, oh, let me call my husband. And my dad kind of heard the conversation that she had.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of Legos. Like, it was this big bin, and it was almost full of Legos. There's probably, over 10,000 pieces in that bin. And this lady calls up her husband, and my dad hears the conversation kind of off to the side, and she's like, there's a box of Legos here that these people are selling, and it's $60. It is the biggest box of Legos I've ever seen. We have to get this. And she came back, oh yeah, I'll get that. Because, like, just one of the kits that was in that box was over $60. One of the kits in that box was a $200 kit.
Dang.
Yeah.
See, me being a tightwad, I'd be like, no, that's too much. But then again, yeah.
Yup. But hey, maybe I wouldn't go back time and do that, because some kid ended up with a really awesome stash of Legos, so yeah,
It made some kids stay, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
I don't know. If there was one thing I had to do, or I could do, time traveling, and I had to avoid paradoxes, I'd probably go back and spend more time with my dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how that is.
Yep. Yeah, it's in the past 3 years ago. My family lost a couple cats, but they live pretty decent length, good lives. One of them was really quirky and weird and kind of cute in an ugly way.
Oh.
She was cute, but she was just kind of, one of the nicknames we had for her was stuffed sausage. Her name is Pipsqueak.
Oh.
And but yeah, she wasn't like a big cat, but she was a little bit pudgy, so it was just like the stuffed sausage. And her body kind of just went right into her head. So there wasn't really a neck to speak of.
It's hard to do this.
I mean, she had a neck. If you put a collar on her, which, we eventually started putting a little collar thing on her, but the collar, like, barely defined her neck.
Poor cat.
But she was cute. She passed away a few years ago.
Oh.
And then our other cat, Simon. He was very he was like Mr. Personality, Oh, there's people visiting. I guess I'll walk around and see who wants to pet me. And whatever, anything goes. You want to give me like nice, gentle pets, that's fine. You want to give me some little scritches, that's fine. If you want to do like rough pets, oh, that's fine. I love that too. You want to just like flop me around, I'll just roll with it. He was a floppy cat.
No.
Yeah, you could just like, you just flop him around, and he'd just be like, "Yep, I'm just gonna flop."
Yeah.
Sometimes he'd be walking by me, like I'd be sitting on the floor, and we'd be watching a movie or something. I'd be sitting on the floor, and he'd come walking by, and I'll just take my hand and give him a little shove, and he just flops over on his side and lays there. And I'll
Like-
start petting him.
Pet me now. I don't know about this color. Trying to go for more subtle here.
Yeah.
I don't want too blue, but I don't want too green. That's too dark. Too gray. I'm too picky here. I'm sorry.
No. It's water is not the easiest thing.
Mm-mm. Like mentioned earlier. Oh, I think that might be good. I just thought to add a little flair. This might actually be a 2-day painting. My gosh.
Looking nice though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all. I actually have to go.
No
Alrighty.
problem.
Bye.
Mm,
See
bye.
ya, it's fun chatting.
Mm. If nothing else, I could always redo this for another day too. To make this a 2-parter.
Yeah, you made some darn good progress on the landscape and background here.
Yeah. I think what I'm gonna do is add some houses over here. Maybe add like something over here. Maybe like a small tiny village in the background too.
Yeah, off kind of on the side of the mountain there.
Mm-hmm. Then you're gonna have the trailing path. Maybe some tiny houses. May not imagine like little huts around the path. That makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, I really dig your foreground, midground, background separation you got going on here.
Oh. Yep. I was always told with like painting landscapes, the trick is you've got to well, for one, paint where the land lies. Well, that works more for traditional, but the thing is, if you paint a mountain, for example, you'd have to paint in that direction. Or
Mhm.
a slope like that, you'd have to paint like that. But then also there was the closer things are to you, the darker it is, the further back it is, the lighter it is.
Yeah. Yeah, things fading as they get further away,
Mm.
getting washed out.
Yeah? Or no? What do you think?
Hmm.
Maybe if I make this a little bit, maybe grayer? And again, that makes that darker, which I just go back and... That's way too
Yeah, that's definitely too gray.
too gray. That's too dark. Huh. This is gonna drive me nuts. Can't get it perfect. Ah! Well, not perfect per se, just not where I'd like it.
I mean, I would offer input, but I have no idea what I would say. I don't know how to make water.
Water is very tricky.
Actually, I can tell you how to make water. So you take hydrogen and oxygen, you combust
Not
them
that
together.
way. It's a type of water you cannot drink.
No, actually, when you combust hydrogen and oxygen, it makes pure water because you get it would use hydrogen comes as H2, oxygen comes as O2, and you get 2 hydrogen molecules for every oxygen molecule would create 4 water molecules. H2O. Oh no, 2 water molecules. 2? Wait. 2 hydrogen.
If it's 2 hydrogen and
Yeah,
2
2
oxygen,
hydrogen.
it would be peroxide.
2 hydrogen and 2 hydrogen molecules, which is H2, and 1 oxygen molecule, which is O2.
Yeah.
And they combust together, you would get 2 times H2O. There's your chemistry stuff for the day. Yay! We all learned something.
It was an educational podcast.
They actually did that in that movie, The Martian. And I'm only betting that the book probably had the same thing. I didn't read the book. Sorry if anybody criticizes for that, but I'm a scrub who doesn't always read the books. That's fine.
I will be honest, I lack the patience for reading sometimes.
Yeah, I just don't get around to it. But yeah, in The Martian, he uses combusting hydrogen with air to create water for the plants.
Yeah. I think that works. I think what I'm going to do is kind of break up some of the darker scenes with a little bit more light. Doesn't help sometimes with recording, there's a bit of lag.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'll do a brush stroke that I didn't intend. Although it's not as bad as like when I got a Surface Pro. One time I got a used Gen 1 Surface Pro. Oh, I don't know if I told you this one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, so I got that like right when I was replacing my old drawing tablet. And the brush strokes just for things like hair, it was impossible. Like, whenever you do stuff. Hold on. Just gonna, like, that. It would go, like, well, on a slower scale.
Yeah.
It was unbearable, and sometimes it crashed when I did it.
Ugh.
Like, this cannot work. So then I wound up getting the Intuos.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and that's what I've stuck with ever since. I think that looks better, but
It seems like a lot of tablets have at least some little issue or some major issue.
Yeah.
I had I still have it actually. I have a Intuos 3 from 2006, and it worked. Once I figured out what the problem I was having was, it worked pretty well. But when I first got it, I was struggling with it keeps disconnecting and reconnecting and disconnecting and reconnecting. Sometimes it'll get into a loop of constantly doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I talked to Wacom about it, and the solution that we came up with was try plugging it into a powered USB hub, because your computer might not be providing it enough power through the USB port. I'm like, all right. And I did that, and it would still occasionally act up on me, but oh man, it was like 95% better.
Yeah. Alright, so as for the podcast, I think I'm going to cut it short.
Okay.
Hopefully next time we'll get more people around. Actually, it was still fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Alright, thank y'all guys for watching. If you liked that video, hit that like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, there's a couple more, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe. Thank you, and bye.
Bye-bye.